just opinions, so don't take it personally. Just because we don't like it, you can still be happy. Enjoy what you like, you're an adult. Yeah. BWN Productions, mask plus props and costume work. If you want a monster name, contact BWN Productions. Fast custom shirts, hundreds of t-shirts, all at reasonable prices. If you need custom work, contact Fast Custom Shirts. Grab a cold one and get ready for the show. It's intended for mature audiences because we kid and joke. Boy God is here and so is Tom and Joe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Oh, shit, there he is. And welcome to whatever the fuck this is gonna be. Don't mind Joe over there. We recorded this a couple months before he hit the old dusty trail and left the podcast. Jose will be back on the next one. But we're not here to talk about that right now, Joe. What are we here to talk about? Because there's a giant R right there.
We're Robin, the boy wonder. No, we're here to talk about Wild Eye, the film distribution company, and we're going to have some questions answered about film distribution and the ins and outs, the beginnings, the endings, all that stuff.
Mr. Rob, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And I'm sure the dozen and dozen of fine, fine folks who will watch this are too.
It's awesome to be with you guys. Thanks for having me, man. This is great.
Right on. So let's just jump into it, if you will. What got you into wanting to distribute other people's movies? Did you make movies? Do you just like movies? What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I both a little bit of both. Uh, indirectly, like as a kid, because I grew up on the East Coast in New York, New Jersey area, my dad used to actually take me into the city. So you're talking like 1979 through like 82, 83. He used to take me to 42nd Street to the grindhouses to see movies. And so we'd go see triple features, karate movies, horror movies. No pornos. He never took me to a porno. But a lot of stuff going on in the theaters was porno-like. So it was pretty crazy that he was bringing me there that young. But he did, and that was part of the influence. And along with like VCRs were emerging then, so we got a VCR, start watching those movies at home, and it's just constantly been just a part of life is B movies, exploitation movies, underground movies, things like that. And then you just start digging as you get older. You start digging deeper into that stuff and into all the different subgenres and everything. So I guess just as a fan, that's kind of where I was. Now in the '90s. I was, doing, stupid shot on camcorder stuff like everybody else. But I had some friends that had gone to film school, start getting involved in their projects and everything. And the one thing I noticed is that a lot of them were using the schools to make their first features. Now at that time it was 16 millimeter. Some were shooting on video, but that was even looked down upon then. In like I would say 93 to 97, like that area, right, of time. And these people were making films and they were either just not getting them distributed, not knowing how to get them distributed, or getting them distributed, but just like never knowing what the hell happened to it or it disappeared, just not getting information, whatever it was. And so Wild Eye emerged out of that, having a lot of friends who had made films that didn't have distribution, didn't know how to get it, and saying like, well, maybe that's something there, instead of trying. Because the other thing I noticed is that people who want to get on the kind of production side of things, at least the people I was hanging around with, it's like endless meeting after endless meeting about scripts and no, we're going to do this. And there's just a lot of talk and bullshit that goes on with film people that I was associated with as far as getting projects off the ground. Oh, we're going to get money. We're going to ask this guy for money, raise money. And I was like, well, distribution's like a way to touch a lot of movies and be involved in a lot of movies without going through that process over and over again. So it's kind of, for me, it was kind of like a proxy way of being a filmmaker in a sense, at the time. So it felt right. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea. I knew as much as they did about distribution, but I figured it out and started that way, distributing people I knew or just whoever would have us. When you're starting out, nobody wants to work with you, nobody knows you, so you just start emailing people or calling people and a friend of a friend, that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like it's kind of carried over that way. It's a lot of like referrals we've had over the years, and to this day, people are like, oh, my friend made somebody I worked with like, 6 years ago is like, oh, my friend made a movie. I sent them your way kind of thing. There's a lot of that because I think I'm just straight with people about what's going on, in the business or with their film and what their expectations are. Because there's so much talk, and, there's so much like, I don't want to say like delusion about what's going to happen to your movie and all this money that's out there to be made. Because I was there too when I was working with all these guys on these films they were making. They were talking about the cars they were going to buy, where they were going to move. Oh man, when the fucking gaffer, doing the lighting, he's like, oh, when this guy sells the movie, I'm going to buy a new Harley and blah blah blah. Just shit talk. And it's like you see all those things just fail and just crumble over and over again with other people on their dime, and you're like, well, I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? Because at that time you had to, you didn't have to, but shooting on film was kind of the thing. And I just didn't want to be trucking around all the time with projects trying to beg people for money. It's just not my personality. I didn't want to do it. So I felt like this was a much better fit for me because I got to creatively work on so many projects. Like had I just started like, maybe writing scripts then, how many films would I have under my belt now? You know what I mean? If I was doing it that traditional route, what do I do? Some of those guys I still know from back then only did one or two features or maybe just one. And that's 30 years. But, I've worked on hundreds of movies since then. So it's like, to me, that's the difference.
Do you remember the first one?
The first one we distributed?
Yeah. Acquired, distributed. Yeah. Just tell us.
Yeah. I think the first, I would say the first official independent films that we put out were The Bloody Ape and Blitzkrieg, Escape from Stalag 69, which was like a modern Nazi exploitation movie. Both are by Keith J. Crocker, who we still distribute both films, and we're still friends with Keith. We're actually working on a special edition Blu-ray for both those films. And so we're gonna put those out. The Bloody Ape was shot in Super 8, and Blitzkrieg was shot in video. So that was 2007, 2008. We officially like incorporated the company in 2006. So next year will be 20 years of doing this.
Right on, congrats,
dude. Yeah, thanks, man, thanks. But those were their first two films. That's when we were going to cons and stuff, but then we hooked up. It was actually, you guys know Beelzebub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Beelzebub actually turned me on to MVD Entertainment, who's a wholesaler, kind of like a mega distributor over here on the East Coast. And they helped us. They were the first guys to help us get into stores and stuff. So that's how that happened, going to the cons and just selling the DVDs ourselves, meeting him, talking to him, and then him saying, oh, you should work with these guys I work with. And then that's how that started to go. And then I was like, oh, okay, we need other movies. So we started to, just like I said, reach out. And then once you start showing up, once your stuff's out there, once you start showing up, people see your face, you're talking to people, it can start to come together, Also, 20 years ago was a different time. A lot more people were making films. A lot more people showing up to conventions with new films or getting a table to sell, their film.
Yeah, you see less and less of that every year.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like nobody wants to buy a new movie. Just give me some old movie with a stupid fucking piece of cardboard over the shit and overcharge me for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's interesting you said that because we're also doing that with the our kind of sister label Visual Vengeance, where we're doing the old SOV movies mostly. We got some film stuff, like the Bloody Ape would be one of them. Where we might retransfer like an old 16 or Super 8 and put it on a Blu-ray with all the bonus features and stuff. But we're not going after like Jess Franco movies and all that. So there are plenty of people doing all that stuff really well. And yeah, so a huge part of it has moved from that kind of indie new movie stuff to the collector's market. It's become a very merch market where a lot of people don't even open the damn Blu-rays. They're just either buying two of them to resell later, or they're just so obsessed with it they just want to collect it. Because yeah, a lot of that stuff has beautiful art and everything. I get it, but to me, that's really far removed from the whole point of this, which is to check out a new movie or to kind of celebrate a movie or to just get turned on to new stuff, whether you like it or not. It just kind of takes away from it. So I don't know. That's collector mentality. But if you look at everything, I mean, you sell T-shirts, you sell hard product, right? As well as doing movies, Tom. And it's like, it's a real kind of merch driven market now. Like everything is toys and magnets and tchotchkes and stickers. I mean, people are always asking us for that stuff. Oh, you don't have T-shirts. How come you don't have toys? How come you don't have stickers? How come you don't have this and that? And it's like everything but the fucking movie they're asking for, because that's what they want.
Yeah, because I guess with streaming now, you can just pull it up on your TV and you don't have to have the physical copy or whatever.
Not Yeah, well, not everything, and the way streaming is set up, it's really a clusterfuck in that you've got all these platforms, and we have certain movies that are only on one or two, and then we have other movies that are on 15 platforms, and there's no rhyme or reason. There's no guaranteed distribution because it's a pitch process. We have to present this thing to Tubi. We have to present. You just don't push a button and your movie's up on Tubi and you make money. It's like you got to go through a process of pitching with them, and then if they say no, but then you put it on Amazon and it does well, you can go back to them and say, hey, this is really doing really well on Amazon. This will do good for you, because these platforms aren't there for you. They're trying to make money on ads. So they're looking for stuff that they think people are going to click on and watch all the way through. So there's a gatekeeping going on there. It's not just it feels like the Wild West, but maybe on Roku channels and stuff like that. But when you get to the higher platforms, the few that are left at this point, they're taking less and less of this indie stuff because you know historically the studios are always the last to jump into these new things that emerge. They were the last to jump into VHS. They were the last to jump in. They were against it. They didn't want people being able to own the movies. That's why you had these VHS tapes used to be $100, $80, and only the stores could afford them. And then it took years for it to become sell through, where you could buy a copy of a Hollywood movie for $20 at the store. That took years to happen. You couldn't just, unless you had money, in the 80s and the late 70s, you couldn't just walk into a store and, oh, let me get a copy of this movie because it was $129 or it was $89. And then DVD, excuse me. DVD was the same thing. Late to come into it, a little bit later to come into it. And the same with digital, a little late to come into it, but now they're into it full force. They got their own platforms. They're dominating the tubies. They just dump out and they've got decades of movies. They got thousands of movies they're dumping out. So, if I'm Tubi or Amazon, and it's like, well, I've got Warner Brothers who's going to give me their whole catalog, or I could take Wild Eye stuff. Which one is going to take up my server space? That's their opinion. Because who's going to watch? It's more likely someone's going to watch a Warner Brothers movie, no matter what it is, because it's probably going to have a star in it or something, even if it's an old movie. Then they're going to, watch, cheese balls. You know what I mean? Like,
Nah, I don't know if they
I
will.
no, I'm just saying. Well, they might watch cheese. Hey, if they're going to watch cheese balls instead of a vintage Warner Brothers movie, I'm with them. But to me, there's a world where both can exist equally. I don't see why one has to lose over the other, but that's the way the world goes, man. So to back that up a little bit so for indies, those things I just talked about, the VHS world, kind of Hollywood being slow going into entering these different bursts that happen in our industry overall, it opens up a small window for indies to sneak in and fill space. Okay. And that's what you see. So you'll see, like, at some point in the VHS era, there was a bunch of stuff you never heard of. There was just stuff, low budget stuff, shot on video stuff. Everything was starting to glut the shelves because they needed more to fill the shelves. Same with DVD. You go to Best Buy, so much stuff, so much indie stuff in Best Buy at that time in the early, let's say 2002 to 2008, when the market crashed. There was so much like homemade stuff that was in Best Buy right alongside all the Hollywood stuff. But that ended very quickly. And then with digital, you kind of seeing that happening to a certain extent, with the exception of Tubi, who is being pickier now, but they're still taking a lot of indie stuff, and their kind of reputation now is for being like the digital video store of the old days. So they're kind of holding on to that a little bit. But you can notice you notice these companies, Tubi's making their own movies now. Tubi original. They want their own stuff because they make more money that way. They don't have to pay you anything with your movies.
Hey, so you mentioned MVD. So I was
Yeah.
wondering, on average, how many hands are involved in a film release like that? Like say the art on the cover, the special features, like what's it all go through?
So, okay, you give me the film today. It's just a movie. So you're talking just on our side, you're talking maybe 5 or 6 people
Okay.
that are involved in it in various stages. So it's somebody cutting the trailer, somebody doing art, maybe 2 people doing art. If the one art doesn't work out, whatever, depending on, every label's different. This is just how I do it.
Right.
Then we're doing, closed captionings that's being sent out. Then it's gonna, somebody's gonna take stills from the movie if you didn't provide them. uh, Again, this is me doing all this in the house. Other than the art and the cutting the trailers, is all that production work and organizing all that production work. Bigger companies have, somebody who just handles this and that and blah blah blah. But at some point, especially for smaller labels, you're farming that stuff out. So closed captions are being done by some lab somewhere. Our movie has to go to a lab and be encoded, and they have to check for glitches in the sound, whatever, because it has to pass the digital QC. For a DVD, it's a little different, but you still want it to not have any glitches, audio or video glitches in it. So they're doing that. They're encoding it. They might be adding your logo to it or whatever work that needs to be done. If you left color bars on your movie, that's going to be cut off. If you left 3 minutes of black at the end, that has to be cut off. You have to check it for URLs. You can't have website addresses and credits or in the film. Some of the platforms disallow that, and they all have AI programs and stuff that they run this through. So they're flagging you on all kinds of stuff. Okay, so now it's at the lab, and now I say, okay, I'm going to set this up with MVD, and like with us, we deal with 3 or 4 different type of people like that. We deal with a couple different people that do digital distribution for us. MVD does physical and digital. and then it goes to their staff. And then, like MVD might have 25 people on staff there. So you're talking marketing people and sales reps, their technical people look at everything and they check the artwork we send, and then we have to make all the different platform art. Just as a preemptive, we do it because we don't know what platforms are going to take it. And if they take it at the last minute, you don't want to be caught with no artwork. So we have to make, you know, let's say 50 pieces of art for all the different platforms in case they, the top platforms in case they take it. So we got the Tubi art, and Tubi might have, 5 different variations of the art they need in different sizes. It's the same art, but they want it side, they want horizontal and vertical, and they want just the logo by itself, and they want this, and they want so each one of those is being made. So there's an artist that does that for us. So there's a lot of hands that touch it before it gets to a person, and then you're talking manufacturing. So it's going to whoever's doing that, and then they're handling it. So, probably your movie has, you know, 30, 40 people touching it in some way before it gets to a shelf or on a platform.
Hmm.
And everybody and all those people are being paid in some way too. So you got to think about that.
So, is there a way to turn a profit, or is this all for naught?
I mean, yeah, I think there is. I mean, there's, that's such a general question. It's like, you turn a profit with what though? You know what I mean? Like, turn a profit with a $500 movie, or turn a profit with a $1 million movie that has some cast in it. That's a thriller, or that's a action movie with a known name in it. Like, is there a way to make a profit? You know what I mean? Like, so are you talking like micro budget, home gamer type stuff? Like, is there a way to make a profit in that, or are you talking bigger?
I just thought it was something funny to say, if we're being honest.
No, yeah, I mean, it should be because depending on, the problem is that, and I think this is the curse of any art, is you just don't know what's going to hit and what people are going to watch. So something you feel that, like, oh, I'm just kind of doing this because I like the movie, I hate it, all of a sudden that makes money. But then something that feels like a sure thing that you put more money into, or more whatever promotion into, nobody wants it. So you don't know as a label what is going to hit, unless you get some kind of, sure thing. But even sure things don't make money. People put out records all the time that nobody buys. People put out, $100 million movies that nobody goes to see with named stars in it. So there's no way to determine the taste of the public at any given moment.
So when like, what kind of advice would you give to people that are sending you a movie for possible distribution? What are some of the do's and don'ts that they should know?
Well, as far as the movie itself, what they're turning in, I mean, it should be feature length, which would be like minimum 70 minutes to like 85 minutes. Some people turn in movies that are 3 hours long. Some people turn in movies that are 40 minutes long. And it's like, well, that doesn't really fit the criteria, like when you're going to show it to the platforms, because they don't want a 3 hour movie necessarily, although there are some up there that exist. I just feel any movie that we've released that was over 2 hours, I've always heard complaints from the public about. Either I see comments or people say, yeah, it's a good movie, it's too long. Oh, it needs 20 minutes cut from it. It's just constantly, if somebody does that with a movie. And it's like, at our low budget level, I think there's the audience for it expects something, and you with that, they're taking that ride with you, and they might understand that it's low budget, but they don't want a long, boring movie. They don't want a lot of talking, especially if they're not, seasoned actors. They might be professional actors, but they're not seasoned. If they're just local actors or even amateurs or first timers, people don't want to hear them talking for 2 hours. Like, no, I don't want to hear, Oscar winning actors talk for 2 hours. Why would I want to hear your uncle in a movie, So you just got to think about the actual stuff. Get out of your own head about what you want to do or what you like and what you're trying to emulate, and think about the person watching it, because you just don't know who that's going to be, and you don't know what their tolerance is. So you have to assume they're not like you and just make something that's more for an average person, quote unquote, whatever that means.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. It's just the problem that I have is I fucking hate the business side. So it's always just like, I'm gonna make what I want.
Well, but that here's the thing. I love your movies to death. You know what I mean? It's like you're doing what I think a lot of filmmakers should be doing at low budgets, is stop trying to make another Halloween or Friday the 13th movie, because that's already been done, and then 50,000 people have copied that, and it's already been done very well. So why don't you just go nuts? Why don't you just go nuts with if you've got no money, you've proven there are creative ways to do things with no money. You don't have to spend $50,000 to have just a fun movie. That's why I get behind your stuff, man. It's like I don't care if it doesn't make any money, and it doesn't. People need to see those movies. And maybe that's just me personally, but that's my freedom running a label. I could choose to not make money on whatever movie I want, and just get behind an artist.
Well, at
You know?
least we're both not making money.
Yeah, but you're not the only filmmaker out there. There's filmmakers out there who don't deal with me, who are doing their own thing or with other labels. They're in the same boat. It's like once you make that decision to just focus on the art and fuck everything else, if you don't want to deal with the business part, because there's not much to know unless you're working at a high level. How much is at stake, really? How much are you going to lose if the movie doesn't make money back?
They'll just be awfully embarrassed by people on the internet.
So
I don't know. I can't see for me personally, and I'm old, but I'm saying I don't know why people aren't connecting to your stuff, because I'm a fan of Tim and Eric. I'm a fan of Eric Andre, and you're in that world, man. Your movies should be on Adult Swim.
I mean,
Like,
I appreciate that. It's I don't have a very what is it? High thought. That's not it. I sound like a fucking idiot. I don't have high self-worth or whatever people call it, humble. I call it, I don't know. I'm probably just fucking dumb, but I appreciate you
if
saying that shit, but I always go with, everybody likes different shit and I don't know. Probably the way I look and speak scares some people off.
okay, but here's the thing, like, but you don't talk to every single person that's seen the movie. You know what I mean? Like, they're not seeking you out. Like the conventions are a great thing for that, because people will come up to the table and say, "Oh my God, that movie! I watched it. Three of my friends, we smoked a joint. It was the most amazing thing. Do you have more movies like this?" So that filmmaker's not there with us. So they'll never get that message that they made three people very happy and they had a great time with that movie. You know what I mean? Like, how many times is that happening with your movie out there because it's out in the wild, Like, so that's one way to think about it. Like, you just don't know how you're affecting people. There is a We did a movie years ago with Mark Polonia called Sharkenstein. Now, there was a couple from Japan. The wife said, my husband and I met at a screening of Sharkenstein because we both loved the movie, and that's how we met. And then we soon after got married.
Yeah,
So,
she was all horned up after seeing
oh,
that Ken Van Plant and needed something.
seeing those muscles, man. Seeing that the freaking cut off T-shirt, man, walking around with the bandana.
That dude
He's
needs
the
to be
man.
in more shit. Hell yeah.
He needs to be in more shit. He needs to be in wrestling. He needs to be in everything.
Hell yeah. I'd watch it. That's the Polonius shit that I still watch. If it doesn't have Ken in it, I'm just like, I'm gonna have to pass.
Well, he stepped out for a while. He wasn't doing stuff for a few years, but he's coming back in, you know. But
Oh
he
yeah.
see he has his own business, so his time is limited. Like he
Is
can't.
he a professional ass kicker?
No, he actually has like an audio and video business. Like he
Oh, right
does,
on.
yeah, local recordings and stuff. Yeah, so he's like in the business in that sense. But I think he does more like corporate stuff or maybe weddings and stuff like that, you know, like that kind of thing.
Now
He's
he's
not making, he's
smart.
not doing movies. Yeah, I mean, it's just day job. I mean, you know, Mark Peloni has a day job too. You know, a lot of these filmmakers that do this consistently, everybody thinks like, oh yeah, they're, you know, these guys are just making bank. You know, how are they doing it? It's like, yeah, they have day jobs. You know, I had a day job for years and years and years doing this. You know what I mean? Like I just that's what you do in this. Like how it doesn't do it, even distributing so much of this stuff, you can't necessarily you can't count on any kind of set income because it's constantly changing. It's
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah, we talk about that often, how hard it is running your own business and not knowing where the next fucking check's gonna come from. It takes a special breed for sure, and emphasis on special, but it is what it is.
It is. You have to take a lot of punishment, and you have to learn how to, you know, understand that. And it's not only the financial punishment, it's the punishment from the quote unquote fans or the public or whatever. Once you put yourself out there, you just, you know, you got to be able to, if you have thin skin, it's not going to work. You know, it's just going to break you.
Yeah, that's definitely something you gotta get used to, especially if you're one of these people like, I'm gonna go search for my movie review on YouTube.
Oh God. Yeah. Don't read the comments. Don't read the comments on your stuff. I mean, that's a really good piece of advice.
Well, for
Mhm.
the longest time, there was people that were writing their own reviews or getting their friends to write their reviews on IMDb, and
Mm-hmm.
they would have a glorious rating because of that. But it's just like when I always tell people that I know that make film, hey, you need to show this to people that don't know you, so you can get an honest reaction to it.
That's really the only advice that will help you because everyone's surrounded by people that love everything you do and they might even be involved in what you're doing, so they have a vested interest in their ego being stroked by what you're doing. But yeah, once you put I mean, you know, if you can bear it and you read the comments, even sometimes people, you know, look, if I put out a 2 hour movie and every comment's like too long, too long, if I'm smart, my next movie won't be 2 hours, you know. Or you know, you could get advice from these things if the person's not just a troll or an asshole, just saying nasty stuff just to hurt you. You know, there could be some good advice in there because that's your paying public. Those are the people you're asking to watch these movies. That's the I think the number one disconnect with a lot of filmmakers is like you're making it for you, but you do have to keep the viewer in mind because that's who you are. Because somebody's asking you to watch their movie the same way, so you have to kind of pay that back and do the same. You can't get masturbatory and just, you know, sit there and have pages of dialogue in what's supposed to be a slasher movie, or you have to deliver what that genre promises or what films before it have promised. Unless you're going to just do some kind of insane twist on everything that's going to compel people, you have to keep them interested. Doesn't matter if it's made. Why do low budget movies? Some of them do very well. Why does Terrifier do well? Those aren't $100 million movies.
So let me something you touched on just very briefly earlier. I want to go back to these independent movies that feed their cast with what I wouldn't even consider a celebrity, but they're a celebrity in our world, I guess. Like they
Mm-hmm.
One of the convention all
yeah,
stars.
like Scout Taylor Compton, if they put her in a role, and
Mm-hmm.
Melissa Rose, does that help with the
Um, it used to matter a lot more than it does today.
okay?
So, and I'll tell you why. Because with the digital platforms, in my experience, they're much, you know, of course, if you have a big name in your movie, that's different. And if you had something that played theatrically, that always is a factor. Like they're always looking at that, because they feel that's like a built-in not only exposure that the film has had that's going to help eyes get on it on their platform, but also that there must be some higher value to this. That's why you see a lot of low budget people trying to get their movies into theaters or four walling their movies to kind of get that kind of to have that as a in their arsenal to promote to these platforms. Like, oh yeah, well, we had a 6 city theatrical run. Yeah, it might have cost them 30 grand to do that and nobody showed up, but yeah, they got that theatrical run in all the cities that mattered. That is, especially on like cable, you're talking like TVOD, which is transactional VOD, where people are paying a fee to watch your movie. That if you go to those sections, if you still have cable TV and you go to their VOD section, you'll see right at the top, now in theaters. So if you have your movie in theaters, no matter how low budget it is, you could get into those sections if you could prove to them that you are playing in all the major markets at that time, even if it's one theater, but it has to be a week in each theater. And those can cost, 8 to 10 grand to rent out those theaters to do that, because the theater is not going to book you. So, theatrical and names, have, I guess, we'll always have some kind of, advantage over not having them. The convention names, and we have many movies with them, and most of them are great. Some of them are, kind of showing up in anything for a few $100s. You can tell. Some of them oversaturate themselves and they become less of value to the market. And, some of them pick and choose what they do and they might have a little more value. So there's that. But when it mattered was when you were going into stores. So traditionally, the stores wanted cast, because if you were going to get into Walmart or Redbox or these rental stores when they existed, having that name on the box meant more rentals, people physically buying the DVD or renting the DVD. Now, not so much. I see movies with cast with, I'm talking like Elijah Wood and Nicolas Cage or whoever, and their name's not even on the. I go to the whatever the on Amazon or Tubi, the little thumbnail, and their name's not even on it. And you look at the cast, you scroll down, you look at the cast, and it's like, oh, it's like a name cast. They don't plaster it. They don't plaster the art with their names.
Yeah, just watch The Monkey, and old Elijah Wood was in that, and you wouldn't know it unless you just watched the fucking movie.
I'm amazed as how many films come out even theatrically, and I've never heard of them, and they're big budgets, big names. I'm like, what is this? And I'm I'm the target audience. I'm a film watcher, and it's just crazy how much stuff is just dumped out on digital and it just never heard from again. I don't know how people make money on that stuff.
Yeah, and like you see these reports about how like the younger generations don't even give a fuck about a movie. They're just like,
No.
give me these 15-second bursts, baby. That's all the fuck I need, and keep hitting me with that shit. I heard something. It's whatever goofy name they have for like a few generations below us or whatever. Oh, they don't even care about like a story format. They just
Mm.
want to hear people fucking talking about what the fuck ever, like this goofy shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, you bring up a really good point, and it's one that I think we're in that period now with filmmaking in general. I think there's still like that. You could see like the Hollywood quote unquote or the Disney and all that. They're suffering. You could see these movies come out, the Fantastic Four and Superman, and they don't really. There's no lasting power to them, and they're spending so much money, and they just don't. You could see they pop for like a week and then they disappear, and so they're struggling. So you can imagine that trickles down. And I think the one of the things that not too many people on our level I've heard talk about is like, you know, there's also a lot less indie micro budget films being made. Like other labels, my label, the amount of people in the last, like, 7 years that are just knocking on your door every day. Oh, I have a film. I made a movie. Oh, a sales rep. Oh, I have 10 movies here. Do you want a licensing? Oh, but that is all slowed down considerably because
Hmm.
they're just because the entry level people making movies and trying to get into the business and trying to get into the market with these movies is just not there anymore in the same capacity, like to make a feature length film. All those, think about it, like when I was doing this, at first I was, 21 years old to like 28 years old. All those people have figured out, oh, I can make a lot more money if I have a TikTok channel and do stupid pranks with my friends instead of making, gonna take all those same friends and make a horror movie for what? Who's gonna watch it? I could make prank videos. I could eat food. You can go. If you're a chick, you can go on OnlyFans, or I guess if you're a dude too, you can go on OnlyFans. You can make
Shout out to
money.
Kyle.
Shout out to whoever. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't put down anybody's hustle. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're at. But you have to understand how the TikTok and the YouTube, that generation, the people who came up on that, the idea of a feature film is just like lost on them. Like, well, why would you do all that work? I could just make a 4 minute video and I get 300,000 views. If I make an hour and a half movie and spend 20 grand, I'm not going to sell 300,000 of them. I'm not going to sell 300,000 copies of anything today. And I'm certainly, might not get 300,000 people even looking at it on Tubi. And then I got to deal with all their BS and all the, they got to deal with the distributor and they got to deal with all the hands along the line that are taking, dipping their beak in the profits just to get that to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're on TikTok or you're on Tubi, you're still getting the same couple cents from Tide or Prep. So what are you gonna spend more time doing?
Well, it's true. It's true. Well, but yeah, but think about it. I can make 5 videos uh, a week and I can upload them. And if people like me, I just keep doing them and I keep giving them what they want. And I could keep earning money that way instead of, taking how many months or years out of my life to make one piece of film or whatever they would call content now, which is a horrible word, but people just use it now. Make this quote unquote content, one piece of it that is going to take me years. I got to edit it. I got to then I got to find somebody to package it. I don't know how to make art. I could just upload it myself from my house. I don't have to leave the house and I can make money. It's a great proposition from a business point of view. Like why, given the choice of both and knowing where the industry now is as far as feature films go, why would you choose if you're 20 years old? Then you got to get all your friends together. I don't even have a car. How am I going to do this? Whatever, like there's so many roadblocks to making a feature film for anyone at any time in history. Now there's more than ever, and then the economy, who's buying these movies?
Yeah, it
People don't
goes
have
back to the collector thing.
that's what you're seeing. That's why the collector market has shot up and the, you know, people taking a chance on movies, they'll watch them for free on Tubi, but they're not going to buy them. That why do you think we sell what we do the way we do at Texas Frightmare? We want people to see these movies.
And it's different, definitely a different thing, It might just be the old fruit in me talking, but having a physical thing in your hand that you actually gotta put in there and navigate the menu and all that shit. It's just different than going on what the fuck ever, clicking on a postage stamp and sitting through a fucking yogurt commercial or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's the worst, man. Is when you're watching something and it breaks into like some of these platforms don't even care where they drop these ads. So it's like in the middle of an action scene or something's going down, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, have you tried our new drug for your restless leg syndrome or whatever the fuck? It's like, yeah, it's really terrible. But that's where it's at. I mean, we can't change it, so we have to adapt to it if at all, or walk away from it, right? And that's
So you
that's.
s- at Texas Frightmare Weekend, we see you there every year. Are there any
Mhm.
shows or film festivals that you still go to that you enjoy going to?
um, yeah, I mean, just yeah, there's there's some smaller ones like some of our guys just did Gross Fest up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
There,
yeah.
yeah, there are smaller ones that kind of have the old vibe,
Mhm.
of what the shows used to be, where it was just kind of like it was just fans getting together, and it wasn't really a kind of corporate feeling to it. Like there's this kind of and I saw it happening with Chiller Theater here in on the East Coast over the years, where it started to become like a celebrity autograph show, and the whole like guys bringing stuff from their basement and selling it at tables and stuff, old model kits and shit like that. That kind of just disappeared, and over time, and probably because those people got old, and also that stuff was limited, that old stuff, and that all moved to eBay or whatever, where people got more money. But there's Texas Frightmare is great. There's one here called New Jersey Horror Con, which has a lot of that old vibe. They also do a film festival part of it. That's like a competition film festival. So there's like a lot of new shorts and features, local people. Um, there's other stuff like the Philadelphia. Uh, it's called Puff. It's the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival. We sponsor a lot of places too, like people that we partner with. We send them DVDs and stuff. The Houston Horror Film Fest, we just started working with them. I think those guys.
Great people, great
Yeah.
show, and they would really like to have you there.
Yeah, but they
I,
definitely need somebody there selling films. It's films that don't have
well,
any distribution.
that's yeah, that's the thing everyone tells me is like, hey, you're the only one selling new stuff. Like you're the only person selling new indie films. Like it's all like you know, Severin and Vinegar Syndrome and all the retro stuff, which I love that stuff. I collect that stuff too, and I have it. But it's like, yeah, no one's representing like the low budget indie stuff anymore. It's all sitting on Tubi, and it's like, yeah, someone has to be doing that, not just us. Because I'll tell you the problem with going out all over the country with stuff is I got to ship all that stuff out there. Um, the tables are more and more expensive at these places. I don't know about Houston horror, but like Texas Frightmare, it's like, it's expensive to have a table there, as you know. And, just get hotel rooms and food and everything. You wind up like breaking even or even losing money on these things a lot of times for the travel part of it for me. So you guys being local, it's a lot easier. You could drive to these places. That's why the New Jersey ones are better for us because we don't have to, we can crash with friends or whatever.
Yeah, that's something we talk about often as well is how the hell does anybody make any fucking money at these shows?
It's a good question. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like I see other vendors and I'm just like, how are they here all day? I haven't seen one person at their table. It's like I mean,
Yeah, they're out getting autographs and shit. You know.
yeah, yeah. And for us also, and I think for any business, it's also a promotional thing. And it's if you're an actual like registered business, it's a tax write-off too, because you're marketing your company, letting
Mhm.
people know. Yeah, people can go online. How do I know how many people that ever come to our table who never bought anything? How do I know they didn't go home and watch our stuff on Tubi or Amazon and we made a few pennies that way or something? There's no way to know. So if you're not there, you can guarantee they probably won't go do that, but at least you have a chance. So you got to look at it as like a marketing thing and not like, oh, I spent a grand going out to this thing. I got to make a grand at least or more to feel good about it. You know?
Yeah, it's like I said, we talk about that shit often and it's just baffling and you think about it. It's just like what the fuck, but it's hey, we're going to go out there and promote. Maybe something will happen. Maybe the money fairy will fly down and an angel will grant us success.
Please. I mean that, but the shows are also like a social thing, right? It's a
Sure.
networking thing. It's a
Like it's great
it's a
seeing all these people and you see them grow throughout
yeah,
the years and all that. That's
yeah.
cool for sure.
And it's a hang too, right? So
Yeah.
everybody's hanging, whatever, shooting down a few beers, whatever you're doing. It's like it's a social thing too. It's not just like, oh, I'm here to make money and in and out kind of thing. So if you go to these things long enough, it's almost like a traveling circus or something. It's like the people. It's like, oh, I saw you in Indiana at Horror Hound. Oh, okay, I saw you in Florida at Monster this or what, Monster Palooza in L.A. Whatever. People are just constantly traveling the country doing this.
The people that are there just are the ones that are the most miserable. You can tell they're not having a good time, that they're just, it's like, why even do this?
Like anything else, it's a job, right? And there's going to be time. There's going to be miserable times.
Yeah. So we just,
Yeah.
shows. I mean, we know that we're not guaranteed to make money. So we just try to have a good.
That's exactly what we do. It's like you guys have been to our table. It's like we're just having a good time. We're messing with the fans. We'll have people out to sign stuff if they're local, or if we can get somebody to come out with us. We'll have a filmmaker or two there, and people we just want it to be a hang and be cool. It's like it's not like, oh, we got how much did we make today? It's not that, because I go into it thinking it's going to be a loss.
Yeah.
That's the way I have to do it. And then if it breaks even, I'm really happy. But it's just too expensive to take because it's a lot of, you can't just bring one DVD. It's like with your masks, you could bring one of each mask and that's it. But I have to bring 20 of each DVD, and then, I've got 200 of them. So how many which do I bring? And I got to bring at least 1,000 DVDs and ship that, and then find somebody to hold them for me. Or if you ship them to the damn convention, they charge you a storage fee, if you want them to hold them for you or whatever. So it's everything. Yeah, I just can't look at it as I need to go make money doing this. It's good. It's got to be something else.
So how do you decide what you're gonna get? Because some people, the stigma's like, oh, Wild Eye will release anything. Do they even watch it before distributing it? I'm sure someone has to, right?
Well, I always say to those people, you should see the movies we turn down.
Yeah, and it's like you guys had so many fucking movies that you released over the years. Like, it's the no budget backyard movies. Like, that's what the shit is. Why would you keep coming back knowing that's what it is and you don't like it? But there's so
Yeah.
many different kinds of fucking movies that you have that you can choose from. It's like I've never seen anybody talking about Black Holler, and that shit was pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When people are quick to say that, and it's maybe because they saw one or two movies. And I think people also don't understand, like, when they're talking and they're saying that, like, oh, you're shit label or the movies are shit. It's like maybe they're probably talking about like Shark Exorcist or The Amazing Bulk or these kind of weirdo oddball films that have become really popular online and have like a fan following, and people are like, oh, I finally saw this one. And by so, if you Google those movies, you can there's just like Reddit threads about them and Red Letter Media and Riff Tracks, and these movies kind of have their own life, and kind of it does a disservice to some of the other films that we have that aren't in that particular kind of like weirdo shark or mockbuster kind of vibe of stuff that we do. I don't. I hate when it's like, oh, we only do this one kind of movie. It's like, man, a good movie is a good movie, whether it's crappy movie to somebody or it's like a brilliant documentary. Because we've done, like The Acid King is such an excellent documentary, about a real life murder. And we did the story of Smoke and Mirrors, the story of Tom Savini, the documentary on Tom Savini. We did like Night of the Living Dead Reanimated, which was like like 100 artists retelling Night of the Living Dead through different art forms. And Cat Stick Blues, which is like an incredible underground gore movie that's just really well done, like a really well done thriller. So there's stuff in there that doesn't fit in with Shark Exorcist, right? And that it bothers me when people don't look at it holistically. It's just like, yeah, this is it's a late. That's like saying like, if you look at like Hollywood studios and you look at their catalogs, it's like, oh my God, they released like this crappy comedy, but then they released like an Oscar winning like Holocaust documentary or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, why aren't indie labels allowed to do the same, like to just mess around with different genres?
Yeah, people are always going to focus on the negative. You can say so much is good, but if you say this shit sucks, well, what is this that sucks? Yeah, it does suck.
Yeah, I
So it's
think, yeah, I don't really care that the name has that association. I like that because it's better than people not giving a shit about any of it. So at least I know there are some people being irritated by her movies, which makes me happy also,
I
because I think
mean,
that this is part of it too. It's like if we can really piss off or annoy a snobby movie asshole, then my job is done. Like that's good.
I guess I'm a snobby movie asshole because we're talking about it, but I watched that Amityville in the Hood shit. And like that a movie never like irritated me before. And I'm just like, there's motherfuckers out here trying to make a halfway decent entertaining movie to make somebody fucking entertained. And then I'm watching this that feels like I'm just getting slapped in the fucking face. I'm sure there's an audience for it, but at a certain point there's just like some shit in Joe watched Apex Predators too, and it's by the same person. We don't need to say the name or anything like that, but he was even like, God damn, son. I don't want to speak for him. He's right there, but fuck. That's the only one that I ever watched from you guys that was like, yeah, man, fuck this shit.
Yeah, it's weird. We get hate mail on some certain directors and stuff, and others who might have similar budgeted films get a lot of love, and vice versa. So yeah, I mean, I don't, I'll tell you this: Amityville and Who was my idea, and I financed that movie. So, but
How
I
dare
did,
you?
but I didn't make the movie. But I love the idea of the haunted weed, man. Come on, you see, I think part of this is like the reason I don't care what people think is because everything is kind of whether it's good or bad to you, it's handpicked by me and it's curated by me. There's not somebody else that picks what we put out. There's not somebody else who works on them as far as like, okay, this artwork and this trailer. I see touch everything that has come out on this label from day one. So it's like it's all a reflection of my taste and that runs all over the place. And yeah, of course, every label makes a decision like, oh, I think this will make some money or this made some money, let's do a sequel or something. There's all you have to make business decisions in there too. But as far as pickups or working with filmmakers that people don't like or whatever it is, it's like if I see something in a filmmaker that I think is different or special or touches me in some way, if it makes me laugh, whatever it is, I don't care. I'm going to get behind the filmmaker. I'm not going to trash the filmmaker. And that filmmaker might have a ton of limitations, and I know what they are. You know what I mean? I'm not an idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you could say like, oh, are they even watching these movies? Absolutely. Absolutely. But do we understand the limitations of some of them as opposed to others, or in relation to an A24 movie or whatever? It's like, yeah, of course. But why, who are you to deny that person like their creative, you know, freedom to do that movie or that's their style or that's what they want to do? It's like, and I just happen to be getting behind it. There are other filmmakers who I hate their style and I wouldn't work with them. and their films are better than that or whatever, on a technical level. But I just don't like their movies. Don't do anything for me, even though they're slicker or better. There's a lot of guys bring me movies, and it's like they've done a few, and they have stuff with other labels, and a lot of guys label shop, and they have a couple movies with this guy and a couple movies with us, and they show us, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not, I just don't like these movies. So
Yeah,
there
and
is there is a method in there behind all that, not for good or bad. And that doesn't, and I'm not saying that because I want you to like the movies more. Whatever you do with the movies or don't do with them or hate them, that's on you. I don't care. I have my relationship with the movie and the filmmaker and what I think of the movie and how I put it out there. And that's kind of that story right there.
Well, yeah, I think all of us, being business owners, it's like that's part of why we're business owners because we want to do what we want to do. We want.
Exactly. You don't want somebody telling you like, I can't imagine working for another label and somebody telling me like, yeah, we don't want that movie. I'm like, what are you talking about? This movie's awesome. They're like, no, we're not taking that movie. I'd be so pissed.
yeah, and I mean, again, like what we say, everybody likes different shit. Like what you like. Just because my big fat ass don't like the shit doesn't mean you shouldn't. Like I can say, yeah, that movie sucks my dick, but goddamn, have you seen Despiser? That is some fucking wild ass shit that I don't even want to say anything about besides fucking watch it. You'll enjoy the fuck out of that.
The
So
thing, the thing, the thing's, it's amazing, dude. That
yeah,
movie is some, and you know what? In the context, and now Despiser was, oh, what was that? 2000? No, 90s. What year was that? 97. I don't want
I
to.
want to say it was
I'm
the
gonna screw
late
up my own movie.
90s because I
Yeah, I want to.
remember
Yeah.
seeing that VHS art and always passing it up because it was that VHS art. Why
Well, it
would I?
had it had that CGI worm kind of
Yeah.
creature on it. Yeah, that didn't look great. That didn't look great.
But
Um,
hey, I finally saw it and I was like, God damn, if you're interested in, movies or making movies at all, you gotta watch this ambitious motherfucker.
dude, that guy's insane because he did that at the time where no AI, CGI was rudimentary at the time. He built that whole movie by hand, basically in a computer. And it took a long time. And I mean, there's a lot of bonus features on that Blu-ray where he talks about how the film was made, and I don't even think he doesn't even really brag about how much work went into that movie. I mean, it's like seriously like a movie from another planet or something. It's crazy how he did that.
Yeah, it's dare I say fucking awesome.
I agree with you 1,000%. And that movie is on. It's on Tubi for free. Like people could check it out. Like they don't have to go buy a Blu-ray. Like it's out there.
Yeah, so it's two totally different movies, two totally different perspectives. So you have a huge catalog. I would recommend people maybe dive a little deeper into it and not just go so surface level. Oh, I seen this movie that's just going around at the internet that time. Well, go see what the fuck else is there too.
Well, yeah, that happens, and we have movies that pop because we'll do stuff like Cocaine Shark or something silly that to get people's attention, and I think that's a low budget studio or filmmaker kind of thing too. Is to how else are we going to get people to look at our films if we just put out another slasher movie? Who's going to look at it? But if you put out something outrageous, it'll bring people to not only see that movie, but maybe check out other stuff you have. And I guess some people land there and they stay there and you're like, oh, you guys are the silly shark movie company. And that's fine too, because we are, it's not, we don't deny anything. We don't hide or lie about like, oh yeah, no, we just put that out for money or whatever. It's like, no, we love all that shit. Like that's my personal taste goes across the board like that. I can watch an art film and then watch, Guinea Pig or something. You know what I mean? Like it's all lives in the same universe to me. So I'm always baffled when people kind of find their little niche in this stuff and they stay there. And it's like, oh, well, you know, that movie wasn't extreme enough for me. It's like, okay, all right, maybe something else will be. Go find something else. Why are you even having this conversation with me? I never in all my life never wanted to like have a conversation with the distributor who put out a movie I liked or didn't like. So I just don't get it. But that's fine.
Yeah, it's just kind of, getting the information out there because people just, bitch and moan about movies on the internet all the time. So, all right,
Well,
let's get it
yeah,
from the horse's mouth, I guess, and
yeah,
see what really
yeah. Well,
goes into it.
the short answer is, who cares what you think? You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
It's like you know, if you like it, great. If you don't, if it's not for you, then fine. And if you want to go spend your, precious time talking about how lousy our movie is or what we did wrong, then go ahead. You're free to do that. I'm not, I'm not offended by it. I get it. Like the movies piss me off too. Like there are movies I watch that I get, why did they do this? Why this could have been this? They could have done this. We all do that. But I think the internet's just kind of the place where people do that about everything. It's not just
Yeah.
movies. Yeah. So once you realize that, it's like, okay, yeah, that's just what it is.
Yeah, and like the negative shit gets the most attention. It is what
Always,
it is.
always. It's like it's also part of the setup of being a distributor and working with filmmakers. Like the filmmakers are always going to be mad at you about something or hate you for some reason or talk shit on you or you did something wrong, you didn't pay them, you didn't do something. That's part of it too. Historically, you go back and you read about the Hollywood studios in the 20s and 30s. They were complaining about the distributor. They were complaining about the studio. They weren't paid enough. They didn't get this, they didn't get that. It's all the same story, it's just cycles, and anyone I talk to that's ever run a comic book label, published books, put out music, they all have the same story. They all have tons of death threats and hate mail from their very own producers and filmmakers. That's just it comes with the territory because you're in that position.
Yeah, again, all different kinds of people out there. It's
Yeah,
just
but
people
then
don't know what's going on, like you said
well,
earlier.
right, there's a lack of business, not business sense, business knowledge about this particular business, let's say, or how a distribution system works, and that's why, look, I think a really good thing that's happened for filmmakers at our level is something like Film Hub, okay, where you can go and make your movie, make your own art and packaging, good or bad, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what I think of it or what anybody else thinks. You take that and you give it to like a film hub, which is like a tech company aggregator who's doesn't work like a traditional label. They're not going to take your movie and then talk to you. Here's artwork we did, and we're going to cut a new trailer. They're not going to do any of that stuff. They're just going to take what you give them, put it up on these platforms wherever they can sell it, and then send you some money. So they've got no skin in the game other than their internal, a staff that's encoding and doing all those things I talked about earlier. But that comes out of whatever royalty they're taking, I assume. So that's they're not. I don't know how they charge back or what they do with that kind of stuff, but it's kind of like part of where this has evolved. We talked about the YouTube, TikTok, that kind of tech kind of taking over this creative businesses in a sense, or becoming the avenue for creativity. And Film Hub is one of those things too we didn't talk about. That to me, that's the future. To me, you're going to distribute your own films because on the rate it's going and the returns, um, like for instance, Amazon just reduced their rates. They used to pay 7 cents an hour. Okay.
I
So
remember when it was 9.
I remember when it was I remember when it was 12 and they would give bonuses if it did well, like that was years ago. So now in May of this year, they went from 7 cents a minute to 1 cent. 1 cent a minute. They're paying filmmakers or studios or whoever. Now You know damn well Warner Brothers and Sony have a different deal than that. But for you and me off the street, we're getting 1 cent an hour for our stuff watched. So do you know how many tens of thousands of people have to watch your movie to make any money? And then maybe you get $200.
Hmm.
Yep.
And then I got to get that money and take a piece of it to pay everything I did to put the movie out. And then how much do you get? 50 cents? You know what I mean? So it's kind of a rigged game in that sense. And it's like for a distributor at this level with small films, it just, the industry's kind of pushing it all out the door. So I think that, you know, filmmakers will have to take a more hands-on approach, learn how to market, learn how to get on social media, do their own videos to promote their movies, and just build an audience directly that will buy directly from them. I think that will be, and you're already seeing that happening with crowdfunding and things like that. That will be a big part of the future, and people would just be putting their movies on YouTube for free, and if you can monetize that, you can make income that way too. I think it's completely viable. I think, will there still be people that want a traditional distributor? Sure. They want a label. They want somebody to do all the work. They just want to make movies. They don't want to deal with that bullshit. There'll be that too.
Yeah, I always thought that I don't want to say you were doing the Lord's work, but you made dreams come true because for like people like me, I was just like, yeah, man, I just want to make some movies and it would be pretty fucking cool to get them in stores and shit. And you did that for me, so I appreciate you and all your efforts for sure.
Dude, my
And
absolute pleasure, dude. I've always been a fan of your stuff. So
hell yeah, and I appreciate it, but I don't think a lot of people think of that. It's just like, yeah, like these fucking people who made these whatever movies, like they wanted this fucking dream to happen and you fucking helped them accomplish that shit. So there's something to say for that too. Say whatever the fuck you want to about whatever movie, but like you're not only entertaining people, but you're making the people whose movies you distribute happy. Sure, some of them might be fuck faces later down the line. Where's my Corvette? Well, listen here, you fucking idiot. That's not how this shit works.
And
well,
even the bad stuff, may serve to inspire somebody that's like, fuck, I should make a movie. I should get out there. I can do this, you know.
that's really an awesome point, because it, why get mad at something? And I mean, because, well, I guess if you're just a person who's just sitting back and you just want to be entertained and you have no aspirations to be creative, but if you're at all creatively inclined and you see what you consider a bad piece of art, no matter what it is, like, yeah, that should just inspire you to do better. Or look at, I had a film teacher once in college, and he said, if I sit down in a movie and it's garbage, the first 5 minutes, I'll just close my eyes and listen to the sound design for the whole movie. You know what I mean? Or I'll just pay attention to the lighting and I'll just ignore the movie because I'm not interested. But I'll try to find something in that movie that was either done good or something I can learn from. It's like, because you're trapped there sitting in a theater. You don't have to do that anymore. You could just turn off you could just turn off Tubi and go to another movie or whatever. And that's part of the reason why it, like you were saying, like when you buy a DVD or a Blu-ray and you decide to sit down, it's an event. You gotta sit down, you gotta get the thing unwrapped or unpackaged and get it in the machine, turn the machine on, go sit down, get your drink, blah blah, blah. It's a whole little event. If I'm just sitting on Tubi on my phone or on my desktop, I don't like something after 5 seconds, I just click on the next thing, just move on. And that person you just clicked on probably didn't make any money. So it's just sitting there, kind of like a zombie house that's not being used. It's just sitting there, like people are just clicking on it and moving on.
And I can't be the only dickhead who spends more time scrolling past these postage stamps than actually watching something because there's so much oh, maybe the next row or whatever will have something better. Well, maybe, oh, it's late
We
now.
all
I'm
do
not going
that.
to watch. Yeah, it
Oh,
sucks.
forget it, man. You know how many times I sat down like, oh, I'm gonna eat my lunch. I'll put something on Netflix or whatever, Tubi, or whatever the hell it is. And I start, going through stuff, and it's like, oh, what am I doing? Is it like by the time I'm done eating, it's done
Yeah.
scrolling. You're done scrolling. You haven't even picked something. So this is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing that you thought, yeah, I should have clicked on that, but it's 45 minutes later and I don't give a good goddamn anymore.
That's what it is. I just decided, just click on something. If it sucks, you'll be done eating in 10 minutes and you just disappear. Get away from it.
A
You know.
runtime is something I definitely look at when I'm trying to decide on something like on Tubi or some other streaming service. So yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to see like, oh, hey, check out this looks like a cool like low budget slasher or something, and it says 2 hours and 20 minutes. Are you gonna commit to that?
Nope, you lost me at slasher.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. If that didn't turn you away.
Yeah, there's only so many fucking of those I can see. Hit me with something else and
Well, I think there are I think people could do things well in any genre at any time, but I think what we've had in the indie world is a lot of fans
Yeah.
making films, and so if one more person approaches me with, oh, I did an '80s throwback slasher grindhouse movie, like I mean, you don't know how many of those people, and it's less now because of what I said earlier with just people making less of them, but they're still out there. I still see, every once in a while, some company will put something out there. It's like, oh yeah, we got the ultimate throwback slash. I'm like, not again, no, please, please.
Yeah, if that's the description, that's a hard pass for me. That
Hey, I
yeah,
got an idea. Make a slasher in the future. That's not a throwback. That's a throw forward. Let's
Lord.
do that. Give me a slasher movie set in the year 3000. How about that? Like
I mean,
I mean, that would be interesting.
Jason's selling fucking apple juice now, so it's really what the fuck's going on?
That was kind of weird, dude.
That yeah, I don't know what the
That was
fuck.
kind of
All
weird.
it is it's just a product and buy the mask and go fuck yourself.
Well, you kind of knew that after the years of like, oh, another Freddy figure. Oh wow, another Chucky plush doll to put on my bed. Whatever the hell people do with these things. It's just like, oh my God, it's like the merch. Oh, another Funko Pop. Great. Just what the world wanted.
Fuck yeah, it's crazy how these I guess murderers have became pop
Mm.
culture icons that you can buy everywhere and children are wearing the
Not,
faces of
not
murderers.
that is, yeah. If you think about that too hard, right, right, and like little kids with like the Chucky shirt on or something with their parents there, and people have Leatherface and all these killers, tattoos, and all this stuff. Yeah, I guess something to that. But I think I don't think they're celebrating the murders, but they're something deeper going on there as far as a fear of death and maybe embracing that in some way. Maybe psychologically it works for them. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it, but
No,
I'm
it's
sure
just
somebody's written a book about that somewhere.
oh,
It's
books.
it's the money grab thing that bothers me because it's just like if you go on social media and you get like you look at like the horror, whatever it is, a horror forum or horror, tweets or um, any Facebook post, and it's just the same fight. It's like, do we have another Chucky, another Halloween thing, another Michael Myers? Give me some new people. I think that's what like Art the Clown resonated with people because it's like at least it's somebody new, at least it's something new, and it's a cool makeup, man. It's a really cool. Can't you know what I mean? Like you might not like the movies or whatever, but the the makeup's awesome. The gore is great. I mean, it gives people what they want in these kind of movies, and it's just very straightforward in that way. And at least that's new. But it's like, I mean, it's like Evil Dead. It's like another Evil Dead release of the Blu-ray, you know, like another re-release of an Evil Dead movie on Blu-ray. How many of these can you own?
Yeah, but this
That's
one's in 4K, you see, and it's in a steel book.
yeah. Well, this one has an extra little tchotchke, and I can see from a business perspective what they're doing, but it's like also from a business perspective, I'm like, that's just quadruple dipping
It's just
into the
milking
fans,
fans when
taking
you break
advantage of
it
them.
down.
But then you
Yeah.
think like, well, if that's what they want, why are you gonna go lose money on something they don't want? Just give them what they want and try to make it cool and different and if that's what they're buying, that's what they're buying. Like, it's just like any other thing. If you were selling lawnmowers or you were selling bicycles, you wouldn't make a bicycle that nobody wanted. You'd try to make the bicycles that people were buying. So I get that from a business standpoint. But as a fan, it's annoying because it's like, that's why I love working on indie films because it's like, well, at least it's something different and new. I mean, for the most part, some people are doing derivative stuff and trying to mock or copy those films, not mock them, but they're trying to copy those films. But it's like at least it's different. At least it's a different killer with a different mask, even if it's not done as well as though. But you have to also understand all those movies when they came out were shit upon as well. It's only now that's like, oh yeah, Halloween, Friday the 13th. I mean, Halloween was probably the only one that had some critical acclaim, but the rest were Friday the 13th and the Freddy movies that they're trying to ban them and they're terrible and we don't want kids watching. They were just looked down upon.
And for the most part, people don't even really give a fuck about the movies. It's just the character, the icon, the look of the monster or whatever.
Well, that's one of the traps you fall into with to go back to what you were saying about these kind of convention um, people or convention actors, as some people call them, that where you could hire a person who was in an iconic movie. It was like Sid Haig or something. Like, well, I can get Sid Haig for when he was alive. You can get him for 5 grand for 2 days or something. Let's say. So, I'm making a little movie, and if I got that money, I get him. But then when you get to market with it, you realize that you know, everybody loves Sid Haig, but they want him as the clown. They
Oh
don't they
yeah,
don't they don't want him as a detective in your shitty movie. You know what I mean?
got all these
Like it,
fucking Filipino movies he was already in. No one gives a fuck about.
right. It's like nobody wants, it's like, oh, I have Mark Hamill in my movie. It's like, well, oh, is he playing Luke Skywalker? No, no, he's just playing a guy who owns a store and no, well, we want Luke Skywalker. They don't want Mark Hamill. It's like people don't want Sid Haig. They don't want necessarily Felissa Rose or whoever. They're so they feel like because they're tied to that franchise, everyone who likes Sleepaway Camp is gonna watch this movie because she's in it or something. And that might be true for many fans, but that's a trap not to fall into, unless you really want that actor for a particular role or the price is right. It can't hurt to have name actors in your movies, but don't let the rest of your movie suffer because you spent all your movie
Yeah.
getting an actor like that in your movie because they're not necessarily going to move the needle for you.
Yeah, yeah. Just with the size of the fucking images on streaming, you can't even put in starring Elvira or whatever the fuck. Nobody's gonna see that shit.
Well, also some platforms do not want any copy other than the title on the artwork that you turn in. So
Right.
actually, some platforms you have to erase it. So you can't even put the people's names on there, and you can't put a tagline on there.
Crazy.
So yeah, if you start looking at platforms and see, you'll see like some of them is like, yeah, you're right. There's no names on here. There's no tagline on here. That's or like the Netflix thing where it's just like a picture from the movie. They don't even make covers. It's just like, they'll change it every 2 weeks to freshen it up. So it's just a still from the movie or something with the title. You know what it is.
No, yeah. Yeah, it's fucking it's wild, man. I'm trying to think. Is there anything you want to talk about that we might have missed?
No, I mean, geez, man, we covered a lot of stuff, man. Yeah. I mean, you tell me. I've gone off on a few tangents that I feel kind of gave a better picture to somebody from the outside looking in and saying, okay, what's it like to make a movie or distribute a movie or to try to get out there in this world of what looks like just digital platforms and a lot of clutter of movies and maybe some DVDs, maybe some Blu-rays, but maybe not, like that, trying to maybe somebody listening is like thinking about making a movie or maybe has made a movie, doesn't know what to do with it. They can and kind of get a better picture of what's out there for them.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe throw out a few movies that you distribute that you think people should watch and give a chance to.
Oh, wow. But- And and whichever ones I don't say, the all those filmmakers will be mad at me, man. You put me you you
I can
put
dig it. All right.
you put me in this position, man, to like
I
it's
love
like I love all my children equally, dude. You can't force me to pick a favorite. I could tell you that we've got a lot of stuff coming out. We've got a lot more shark movies coming, a lot more Visual Vengeance Blu-rays, a lot of old retro. We got films from Todd Sheets and Donald Farmer, Mark Polonia, the old stuff, Splatter Farm, Zombie Bloodbath, all the classics of the SOV era. A lot of that stuff's being worked on right now, bonus features and packaging. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out in that realm. As far as the new movies, we do a few in-house things now, like the shark movies, the Ouija shark movies, the Jurassic Shark movies. There's those are always fun to work on, and people always have a good time with them, and they always they always find an audience, so we keep doing them. But they're fun to do, so that's kind of what we've got a sequel to Jurassic Shark coming up, which would be part 4, and then which just played in Japan, the world premiere. And then we got same with Ouija Shark Part 3, which just played in Japan, world premiere at the same film festival. Those are coming out. We've got a great new movie by Todd Sheets called Wolf Moon Rising, which is werewolves in space. So it's like it's kind of like an alien type plot where these people on a ship, distress signal, they find another ship that's all messed up, find some people in cryo chambers, bring them onto their ship. Once they get thawed, though, it turned out they were all they were turned into werewolves, and craziness ensues. Practical suits, all practical werewolf suits and gore and stuff. So really, really cool throwback, uh, in that way, and just really cool action movie. And that's actually playing theatrically. We're in August now. That's been playing theatrically all over the country. Todd's been screening it at different festivals and different video stores, all kinds of places. I've been booking it to play it. So he's actually traveling around. I don't know when this is going to air. I think it's going to air soon. We'll be in Atlanta next weekend, which would be August 30th, which is Labor Day weekend. We'll be in Atlanta doing an all-day shot on video film festival with the Atlanta Film Freak Society and a couple other uh, outfits down there. They've asked us to join in with them and program a bunch of shot on video movies. So we're doing 12 hours of shot on video movies with Zombie Bloodbaths, one of them, Trash Cans of Terror, Vampires and Other Stereotypes, Slaughter Day. Some movies some of them, a lot of all the movies that we deal with these movies, but some of them have been released on Blue, some haven't. But
Slaughter
it's
Day is a
like
good one.
Slaughter Day is insane, dude. That's one I recommend people see for what. And this was made in the early 90s. What people could do with no money, with a lot of friggin' creativity and thought just with 5 cents. I mean, these guys made an incredible like Evil Dead type action gore movie for like nothing in Hawaii. The Cousins brothers.
Yep, the good
Just
old Cousins
the
brothers.
Cousins brothers, man. Everybody laughs as the cousin. Yeah, it's you know, it's that's their last name, Cousins, and they're twin brothers. So, but they're still making movies, and they do a lot of alien documentaries and stuff. They're in the UFO world, and they travel around the United States making documentaries and stuff. But we have that and a couple of their older films from back in the day, and they're just incredible what they did with nothing. So they're inspiring to people. It's like you don't have to, you can just make up stuff and just go crazy. That's why, again, back to your films, I love them because you're just using what's available and doing stuff around. You're taking advantage of your locations, taking advantage of just homemade effects. Just you can do it. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can find a way. You can go in
Yeah,
your garage and make stuff in your garage just with shit that's in there.
and if you want to do it, I
Excuse me.
highly suggest that you do because you don't know how much time you got. So if you want to
well,
do something, do it.
well, there's that too, right? There's that too. So if yeah, it's not, yeah, yeah, you never know what's going to change in your life. So if you think you got one in you, get it out. Doesn't matter what people think. Doesn't matter you even sell it or whatever. Just get it out there. And if you don't care about distribution or money, just put it up on YouTube. Let people see it. Let people, you never know. That's the great thing about this, man, is you just don't know who you're inspiring to do stuff. You know how many filmmakers just have come up to us and said, "Oh, I made a film because I watched your movies, when I was 20, and now I'm 25, and I used to watch your movies and it inspired me to make a movie." And maybe they thought they could do it better or they wanted to do it the same or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like that inspired somebody. So if you put your stuff out there, you never know. You can inspire somebody to make a comic book. They might not even make a movie. You might just inspire somebody to just have a better day and treat their friggin' wife better or whatever. You just don't know. You just don't know what it's doing for somebody. So you got
Oh
to get it
yeah.
out there. That's the power of it, man.
I wish I could just leave it on there, but I have just a couple personal things. Well, not personal things, but just questions that I would like to ask.
Hit me. Totally cool, man.
A couple, I was gonna say a couple months, but a couple years ago, you had a banner for a movie with Rudy Ray Moore in it. Is that still coming out?
That would be yes, yes. That's actually like right next on deck here. You're talking about Violent New Breed, which was that's a shot on video movie Todd Sheets made in the '90s, and it's batshit crazy, man. But yeah, we've got an insane Blu-ray. The Blu-ray's done. There's like I think 4 versions of the movie on there, and it's like there's like 20 hours of bonus features on this disc. It like took forever, but it's insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's coming. That's a Violent New Breed, right? Yep.
All right, I will remember that title because I want to
Oh,
check that shit out for sure.
you'll get one when I get it. You
Right on, well, I appreciate it. Nine Demons. Does that sound right? Am I remembering that right? The
you're
Nine Demons?
you're absolutely right. Yeah, we've got a few vintage martial arts films too in the works. Um, Nine Demons being one of them. Fatal Flying Guillotines is another one, which is one of the kind of the bastard child of the Flying Guillotine movies. And some Godfrey Ho stuff. If you know Godfrey Ho stuff of sort of like Ninja Terminator fame,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, Nine Demons is a really cool, like, yeah, they're not Shaw Brothers movies, but they're like in that vein. So a lot of people confuse them with Shaw Brothers movies, but insane like horror martial arts.
Yeah, I saw the trailer on a couple discs, and I'm just like, I can't find it. When the fuck is this
See,
coming
I'm
out?
glad because I've been getting a lot of messages about that particular movie, and that's I like to like tease stuff and like throw out trailers on some of these Blu-rays, and then it gets people excited. And that one in particular, the Nine Demons, I've gotten so many emails and like DMs about. Like, hey, when's Nine Demons coming? I saw the trailer. Hey, Nine Demons, Nine Demons. Everybody wants to see that because it's insane.
Yeah, I seen a bunch of other, I guess, boutique labels putting out fucking wacky Chinese shit recently, so I guess
Yeah,
that's just in vogue or whatever fucking term you want to say.
I guess. I mean, there was a bunch of I had gotten a movie called Kung Fu Rascals by Steve Wang that we put out last year, and that you know that was one of the movies that I watched back in the day when it first came out on tape. And I wanted that movie for years to put out on the label. And so we were able to work that out. But through those guys, where I got that film from, I was able to get some of these other martial arts and Asian films. So that's how that worked out. I wasn't necessarily going out and looking for those retro things, but I came up watching all that stuff. I still have my Five Venoms bootlegs and everything from back in the day. Like it's not like, oh yeah, it's going to make money, but it's just always been a genre I've loved. But it's not, I wouldn't do it exclusively. You know what I mean? Just do that stuff.
Right
It
on.
ha- that's why it's like it's the horror ones. I like the ones that are horror or really bizarre.
Yeah, watching Kung Fu Rascals, I was taken aback to find out that there's two fucking people named Les Claypool. How the fuck does that
It-
shit happen?
I had that same conversation with him because I was so excited. And then when I talked to him, I'm like, wait a minute, you're not. No, no, no. I'm Les Claypool. Yeah. So like on IMDb, it's like Claypool the third, or it's like a three next to his in parentheses next to his name because it's like apparently there's more than two Les Claypools, and it's like, yeah, everyone says that. Oh my God, Les Claypool's in this. I wonder how many
Mm,
copies we sold of that, people thinking it was Les Claypool. I hope that happened because it helps us.
I'm sure it did.
Well, and also it's an awesome movie they should see anyway. So whether or not he's in it is something they should see.
Yeah, Steve Wang is fucking, he's done a lot of fucking great sculpture and painting.
Oh man, just great. If you did you watch that the whole disc, all the bonus
I
features?
did. I did. You just look in the background and see
I was
all of
gonna
his
I was
shit
gonna
in the
say
interviews.
because
Yeah.
yeah, when we went to interview him, it was like in his shop, in his studio, in his conference room. But he's got all the awesome sculpts behind him when he's talking. I'm like, oh man, this stuff is just crazy.
Hell yeah, it's good shit. And you're just like, ah, there's the guy who did the Predator. Right the fuck on. It's cool.
And he's an awesome guy to work with. He's just one of the nicest guys ever, and very just very modest. Like he's just and his work is so great. I mean, you ever see Drive, the action movie he did?
No.
All right, check that out. Check out
Right
Drive.
on.
It's like one of the best action movies ever made. I think Arrow or somebody just put that out on, or maybe MVD. Somebody, it might have been Arrow in the UK, maybe MVD here. Somebody put that on Blu-ray, but I think it's on digital too. You could find it.
Right on. Yeah, I
But
thought he just did Rascals and Guyver.
no, he didn't. Well, Guyver too is another great one. Um, no, no, and don't and people, when you say Drive, they go, oh, the Ryan Gosling movie. It's like, no, this is like the complete opposite of that, paint drying movie. It's like just however boring that movie is, this is the opposite. It's just nonstop from start to finish.
Oh yeah. One more question about a release. Maybe I can sway you to pick it up, but I would really like to have a nice physical copy of Ben and Arthur. Have you ever heard of this movie?
Is this the? I think I read about this years ago. It's a LGBT movie.
That's correct, sir, and it is fucking amazing.
I've never seen it. I've
You
never
sh-
seen it.
you should see it.
Is it like on digital? Like is it on Tubi or whatever?
Oh, I'm sure you can find it somewhere. I might have seen it on YouTube, or I might have
Okay.
ripped it off of YouTube or something, but it's out there for sure. And
When
goddamn,
when we did the Amazing Bulk, I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but
years
you
and years
did
ago, yeah,
because you remember. I mean, you did those awesome busts for
yeah,
us years ago. But I don't know if you ever watched the whole movie or just photos I gave you or
No,
whatever.
I did. I seen it before that.
Yeah. So when we put that out, and that's another one we're working on. We just interviewed a couple of the actors. We're going to do a Blu-ray on that one. When that came out, because that's like on every like every damn Collider article, every like worst Hollywood ripoffs ever made, top 10 worst superhero movies, right? Top 10 worst it's on every worst list when it's superhero stuff or mockbusters, whatever. It's always popping up, and it's got a lot of fans and a lot of fan art out there. It's just crazy. People make their own little sculpts of him and stuff. There's a lot of crazy fandom like arose out of that movie. And when we put that out, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's like The Room," and it's like it's like that movie that you're talking about. And I'm like, "Huh, never seen that movie." I'm like, "I'm gonna check this out." I wonder, I if I see it and like it, there's no saying that I won't do it.
Hmm.
Right. If you do, let us get a commentary track on that shit.
You 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 have a deal. You have a deal. Absolutely.
Thank you. Whatever help you need, let me know. I'll go and strong arm these motherfuckers.
Well, the thing with trying to get older films is you just never know. Like, is it tied up at some company? Is that company still in business? Is the filmmaker embarrassed? They, because of the bad, if there's, negative stuff, they don't want it out there because their intention was different. Or is it, is the person dead? When you deal with the older retro stuff, there's a lot of different things that come up that don't come up with somebody who's eager and just made a film and wants it out there. It's like a whole different thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
if I'll check it out, and we might investigate it and go find it. I'm surprised no one's done it because yeah, I was that just kept coming up all the time.
Yeah, it is highly entertaining, and I would highest recommendation everybody watch that.
Hell yeah, man. All right, thank you. I'm
No,
on it.
thank you.
I'm on it.
Joe, you got anything?
I just want to say thanks, man. This is was very informative. I'm sure you've uh, I don't know, maybe got people to like, hey, you know what? Let me give more of their shit a chance and not just take this at face value.
If they do, that would be so cool. We welcome everyone. Check out our stuff, but it's no one's under. Taste. Taste is something that you can't force people to.
Yeah.
It's like you can't force a movie to be a cult movie. Everybody says, "Oh, I got the next cult movie," but you don't decide that. The public decides that. So if they want to come along, we're here. Um, and we'd love to have them check out our stuff.
Hell yeah. And like I told you before, man, I appreciate what you done for me, not only business wise, but being a good guy and someone that I would consider a friend. So I appreciate that shit, dude.
It's right back at you, man. It's like I can't say it enough. I've said it like 20 times on this podcast. I love what you do creatively, not just your films, but also the work you do. And you do stuff for us. I know you do stuff. You've done stuff for other labels like Severin, etc. So you're a super talented guy, man. You gotta just keep it going.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that shit for sure, dude. Uh, Anything you want to plug? You got websites, social media, let them know all the streaming platforms or where they can buy
Oh,
DVDs.
well, yeah. Well, actually, we're in the middle of one of the things we've been doing this year is revamping our whole website. So right now, our sites there's just a holding page there, but
Yeah. Sure.
there's a email you can put your email there if you want to get on our mailing list. And we're hoping to launch, probably we're really close. We're just launching a site, so at least people will be able to see all the variety of stuff that we have, and some of it will be available for sale. Some of it's only digital, but it'll direct you and tell you where to go on what films, and kind of give you an idea of what we're doing there. And you can reach us there. Filmmakers can reach us there with their films, and they could do that anyway. There's this contact button on there right now, even though it's not live. The new build is not live yet. But also, we're on social media. We're on Facebook, just Wild Eye Releasing or Wild Eye Movies. Like on Instagram, we're Wild Eye Movies. On X, Twitter, we're Wild Eye Movies. And, those things are updated, weekly at least. So there's always stuff going on. You can see what we're doing. Our sister label is Visual Vengeance. You can look that up. You can get it through that. It all connects to the same place. So.
Well, right on, man. Again, appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
man, this has been awesome. No, I appreciate you having me on. This is so great, man. I love
Hell
it.
yeah, right on. As always, fastcustomshirts.com. Hundreds of t-shirts, all at reasonable prices, just like that song says. If you need custom work, got it there too. If you want to check out my bullshit, dwnproductions.net, masks, bus, props, custom work. We'll hit you with the old outro song and cut it off, and then we'll say our pleasantries. But until next time, Joe, what?
Boy, gob.
Thanks for checking out the show. We hope you dug it, baby. If so, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and let us know down below. Support Tom and Joe by heading over to dwnproductions.net and fastcustomshirts.com. Until next time.